12 minutes past 6. Now, if you're up early because you're thinking about going shopping today, you might want to think again when you hear this, because 11 million of us are expected to take to the high streets today, and we'll be spending at the rate of £1.5 million every single minute. Sounds a lot, but is it enough? The retailers reported flagging sales last month, and there are warnings some could go under unless they have a busy time in the lead up to Christmas. Well, joining us now in the studio is the retail analyst, Clare Rayner. Morning, Clare. It seems like it's hard to overstate this. Today, this next few days are absolutely crucial for retailers, yeah?
Absolutely. We've seen very poor sales in the run-up to Christmas because there's been such mild weather. Certainly for the garment retailers, people selling heavy winter clothing, jumpers, coats and boots, they just haven't had the sales coming through because we frankly haven't needed heavy winter wear yet. And then in addition, that sort of kills the Christmas spirit a bit until there's a frost and the air's feeling a bit cold. We just don't think, must run out and do the Christmas shopping. So that has put things back.
I was walking around yesterday and you see all the sale signs up and discounts everywhere. I suppose that gets people in, but it means the shops have got to sell twice as much to make their money.
Yeah, well, for those retailers who've had to go into heavy discount, it's more about getting that stock sold, getting the cash back in the business and making way for the spring and summer ranges, which will be coming out in sort of early January. So it's almost a crisis management situation. And yet they do need the money to be able to continue trading and to be able to see themselves through to a successful end of season.
And if this next week doesn't result in a big increase in sales, what do you think the new year has in store for retail in the UK?
Well, it's very fragile at the moment, and I think the Director General of the British Retail Consortium said that the retailers were literally on a knife edge, and this week is so very important because we've all been holding back on our spending as well. I think over the last few years, people have seen that the retailers have gone into sale before Christmas, and therefore the consumers have waited for it to happen. And so there's this sort of balancing, will we or will we not spend as consumers? And the nerves must be very frayed. And if they don't get that spending in, this week is critical because the Christmas season for the majority of large retailers is where they make the most of the year's profits. And if they don't do this week successfully and they don't get the sales they need, and if the consumers don't spend the money, then come January, when the results are out, we should potentially be seeing some bad news.
The way you're talking, the way many retailers are talking, it's almost as if they're portraying themselves as charities and they want us to give to them. It really does seem that they're that vulnerable at the moment that they need help.
Well, it is a very vulnerable time because whilst we can see that a lot of people have gone to 50–60% discount, they have therefore then given away all of the profit that they need to pay their rent and their rates and their staff. And it's just about literally liquidating that stock, getting the cash back in the business and having some finance to be able to pay for the next season's merchandise. It isn't at this time about making enough money to report to the PLC board and say, we've done very well, thank you very much.
More big names disappearing, do you think?
I don't know what to predict at this moment, but I would expect that we'll see some more bad news, unfortunately.
OK, Clare, gloomy. Thank you very much indeed. We'll